Have you ever felt like you're wandering through life with a GPS that says recalculating every 5 minutes? Like you're busy, but not sure what you're busy doing? You wake up, scroll your phone, go to work or school, and then, bam, it's bedtime again. And somewhere in between, there's this dull feeling in your chest, like you're meant for something more, but you just can't figure out what it is. According to the Stoics, that feeling isn't a glitch. It's a signal. And today we're going to decode it. But before we dive deep into this ancient guide to finding clarity and purpose, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps more than you know, and it keeps our journey going strong. Stick around till the end, because the last lesson might be the exact answer you've been searching for. Number 1, you're not lost, you're distracted. Most people think they're lost, but the truth is they're just overstimulated. Marcus Aurelius said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." But how often do we actually retreat inward? Instead, we fill every moment with noise. Notifications, reels, group chats, TikTok algorithms designed to hijack your brain's attention span. You're not lost. You're buried. When your day is filled with distractions, there's no space for clarity. The Stoics believed in mental stillness, not because it's trendy, but because it's necessary for seeing your life with clear eyes. If you can't sit alone with your own thoughts for 10 minutes without reaching for your phone, that's not a small problem. That's your inner compass malfunctioning. So what can you do? Start by doing less. Seriously, try being bored for once. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life." But freedom isn't found in endless choice. It's found in intentional living. The next time you feel lost, ask yourself, what am I constantly avoiding? The answer is probably where your path begins. And hey, don't worry if your first attempt at stillness ends in a nap. Happens to the best of us. Just don't confuse distraction with destiny. You're not lost. You're just too busy checking your Wi-Fi signal instead of your soul signal. Number 2, you've built a life for someone else. Here's a spicy truth bomb. Most people are exhausted from chasing dreams that aren't even theirs. From childhood, we're handed a script: get a degree, get a job, get a spouse, buy a house, retire, and then maybe be happy. But what if your soul never auditioned for that role? The Stoics would say you're not lost. You're just miscast. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Many of us imagine a life of success based on external definitions, status, validation, likes, titles. But that's not success. That's a costume. The more you wear it, the more disconnected you feel from your true self. No wonder you're waking up like, who the heck am I? Self-discovery begins the moment you stop trying to impress a world that doesn't even know what it wants. The Stoics remind us that virtue, living with purpose, courage, and wisdom, is the only real success. Ask yourself, if nobody could applaud me for what I do, would I still do it? If the answer is no, you're not lost. You're just living someone else's script. So go ahead and fire the imaginary boss in your head who keeps telling you what you should be doing. You don't need permission to be yourself. You just need courage. And maybe a strong cup of coffee while you figure it out. Number 3, you're avoiding the hard questions. It's easier to binge a Netflix series than to ask yourself, what do I really want out of life? Most people feel lost because they never stop to confront their truth. Socrates said, "An unexamined life is not worth living." The Stoics would agree, except they'd also tell you to stop watching season 3 of a show you don't even like. Self-discovery requires brutal honesty. Not aesthetic journaling with rose gold pens, but actual uncomfortable questions. Like, what am I pretending not to know? Or where am I being a coward? Or my personal favorite, why does my purpose vanish every time I open Instagram? The truth is, we hide behind distractions and busyness because asking hard questions can feel like staring into a mirror with no filters. But the Stoics thrived on this discomfort. They believed that truth, however painful, is the only path to clarity. The longer you avoid the hard stuff, the further you drift from your real self. So yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's messy. And yes, it's easier to just keep doing what you're doing. But if you keep ignoring those questions, don't be surprised when your soul sends more alerts labeled lost. And this time, even Google Maps won't help. Number 4, you're mistaking movement for progress. Here's a modern tragedy. We glorify being busy. Like if your calendar isn't full, you're failing. But movement doesn't equal progress. You can run 10 miles on a treadmill and still be in the same place. The Stoics would probably look at our to-do lists and say, cool, but why? Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In other words, don't chase the illusion of productivity. Chase purpose. Just because you're always doing something doesn't mean you're doing the right thing. Most of us are sprinting, but we never stop to check the direction. Pause and evaluate. Why are you doing what you're doing? Is it aligned with your values, or just something you picked up along the way? If your daily grind feels like you're on autopilot, maybe it's time to grab the controls. The Stoics teach us that clarity only comes from conscious living. So take a deep breath. Cancel one unnecessary task. Then sit down and do something that actually moves you. Bonus points if it doesn't involve replying to emails labeled urgent, but somehow never are. Number 5, you're resisting acceptance. This might sting a little. You're not lost because you haven't found your path. You're lost because you refuse to accept where you are right now. Stoicism isn't about fixing everything. It's about facing reality without flinching. As Marcus Aurelius put it, accept the things to which fate binds you. Acceptance isn't surrender. It's acknowledging the truth of your current situation without judgment. You may not be where you want to be, but you are exactly where you need to start. Many people keep searching for the perfect starting line, but the Stoics remind us, every moment is a fresh beginning. Instead of constantly seeking escape, try embracing this very stage of life. See it as your training ground. You're not late. You're not behind. You're just in the middle of a messy, beautiful process called growth. Accept it, and your path becomes clearer. And if all else fails, just remember, even Marcus Aurelius probably had days where he stared at his toga thinking, what am I doing with my life? Number 6, you're comparing your journey to someone else's map. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to feel lost. You open social media and see someone your age buying a house, traveling the world, or launching a business that's changing lives. And suddenly, your cereal tastes like failure. But according to the Stoics, comparison is a trap. Seneca said, no man was ever wise by chance. Wisdom isn't found by copying, it's found by carving your own path. When we compare ourselves to others, we ignore context. You're comparing your behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel. You don't know what struggles they've faced, what luck they've had, or what values they're driven by. The Stoics would say, focus on what you control, your actions, your choices, your character. That's where your power is. Instead of asking, why am I not where they are? Ask, am I living in alignment with who I want to become? That small shift turns jealousy into self-inquiry. It stops you from chasing someone else's destination and brings you back to your own purpose. And let's be honest, some of the people you're envying can't even sleep at night because their dream life is built on anxiety and credit card debt. Keep your eyes on your own road and stop trying to win a race that isn't even yours. Number 7, you fear stillness because it reveals the truth. Silence can be terrifying. That's why so many people keep themselves endlessly busy, because the moment things get quiet, the truth starts whispering. And sometimes, the truth is uncomfortable. The Stoics knew this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If your thoughts are scattered, fearful, or restless, your life will reflect that. Stillness is not the enemy. It's a mirror, and mirrors don't lie. When you finally pause, you start to notice your pain, your regrets, your misalignments, and that's exactly when real change begins. The feeling of being lost often comes from years of avoiding reflection. The Stoics embraced silence because it revealed the inner landscape. But here's the good news. Stillness doesn't judge you. It just shows you where you are. And from there, you can start walking with intention. The more time you spend in solitude, the clearer your mind becomes. Not because life suddenly makes sense, but because you start making sense of yourself. So next time you find yourself reaching for background noise, pause. Ask yourself, what am I trying to drown out? Then be brave enough to listen. And maybe grab a journal or a cookie. Growth requires snacks. Number 8, you're waiting for permission to begin. Many people feel lost because they're waiting to feel ready, waiting for someone to validate their dream, waiting for life to give them a green light. But the Stoics didn't wait. Epictetus said, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" In other words, stop stalling. You're not a Netflix series. Nobody's going to continue watching unless you press play. The truth is, clarity comes from action, not overthinking. The longer you hesitate, the more you convince yourself you're not ready. But here's the kicker. Nobody ever feels ready. Not even the philosophers. They just start with what they have, where they are, and figure it out along the way. Waiting for permission is just fear dressed in polite clothing. It sounds reasonable, but it keeps you stuck. The Stoics remind us that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action in the presence of it. If you want to stop feeling lost, start moving, even if your steps are awkward, small, or ugly. So if you're looking for a sign, this is it. Hit publish, send the message, start the course, change the routine. And if you fail, congrats. You're one step closer to not being lost. Failure, after all, is just feedback with bad PR. Number 9, you don't know what you stand for. Feeling lost often comes from not knowing your values. You're doing things, achieving things, but none of it feels like you. Why? Because purpose isn't about what you do. It's about why you do it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." That's a man who lived by principle, not popularity. Take a moment to ask, what are my non-negotiables? What do you stand for, even when it's inconvenient? If you don't know, life will keep pulling you in every direction. You'll say yes to things that drain you. You'll tolerate relationships that dim your light. You'll lose yourself bit by bit in the name of being nice or successful. The Stoics were clear. Know thyself, then align your life with those principles. When your actions reflect your values, you start to feel grounded, even in chaos. You might not have all the answers, but you'll always know your why. And that's better than any 5-year plan. And hey, don't panic if you haven't figured it all out yet. Most people are walking around like confused philosophers in yoga pants. You're doing fine. Just take time to define what actually matters to you. Not your parents, not society, not some influencers selling morning routines and mad chop powder. Number 10, you're measuring life by the wrong metrics. Followers, income, status. These are the metrics most people use to measure their life. But are they helping, or are they making you feel like you're behind, broken, or unworthy? The Stoics would say we've got all backwards. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Translation, it's not what you have, it's what you chase. Modern life trains us to measure success externally, but external metrics change. They fluctuate. One day you're up, the next day the algorithm forgets you exist. The Stoics, on the other hand, measured life by inner peace, virtue, and growth, things no one can take from you. So ask yourself, if I removed all the numbers, my salary, my likes, my grades, would I still feel valuable? If the answer is no, that's where the work begins. Because true success is internal. It's waking up and liking the person you see in the mirror. It's sleeping at night without anxiety gnawing at your chest. And let's be real, some people have all the metrics but still cry in their luxury cars. Meanwhile, the Stoics walked around in sandals with peace in their hearts. Choose your metrics wisely. One leads to endless chasing, the other to deep fulfillment. Feeling lost is not a weakness, it's a signal, a turning point. And if you made it this far, it means you want more from life. That's rare. Don't ignore it. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you found even one truth that hit home. Your support fuels this mission, and we're just getting started. Let's keep growing together.